You know, there's no question that this election at the end of the day was all about the economy. And now, well, now that the voters have spoken, Trump will get a chance to act on the promises, the pledges that he's made, from taxes to regulations to infrastructure. Here to help break it all down, Brad Thomas and Ed Pozzuoli. Ed, let me start with you. Donald Trump made a lot of promises for the first 100 days, and they're pretty grand. The Middle Class Tax Relief Simplification Act, American Energy and Infrastructure Act, repeal and replace Obamacare. Is there a list of priorities that you think he should focus on, and what do you think will get done in that time frame?
Well, I think there's a real opportunity for him to rein in the power of Washington, because that was the clear message last night, Charles. People want to rein in the power of Washington. You do that in two ways. You reduce regulation and you reduce taxes. Trump's plan in the first 100 days would be to go ahead and lower individual tax rates, go ahead and provide significant corporate tax rates down to 15%, help small businesses with targeted tax cuts, as well as repeal and replace Obamacare. That's mandated from last night.
You know, guys, and just so the audience knows, speaking of small businesses, on Monday, the National Federation of Independent Businesses, the largest group of small businesses, said their #1 problem right now is government red tape. By far, in fact, it surged from September to October. #2, taxes. So, Brad, you're the author of The Trump Factor. How do you see the economic plans being implemented? And is there, people are saying, some are saying lower taxes right away, you know, that kind of thing. Some are saying, hey, people in those formerly blue states that voted for you in the Rust Belt want those jobs ASAP.
Sure. Well, you know, I was at the victory party last night, and you know, average Joe showed up. You know, and I think what's resonating here with Trump's economic message is that the average Joe, the average person in the United States, is going to see a simpler tax code. They're going to see a simpler way of doing business. Me as a small business, I'm going to have a smaller taxes that I have to pay out for my small business. So I think it's absolutely going to be simpler, easier.
But you got to have a job too, right? I mean, if you're going to, before you can worry about taxes, you got to have a paycheck. So what about these folks who say, hey, listen, okay, we used to have Bethlehem Steel was in my backyard. It's not there anymore. I gave you my vote. Do we immediately do something for them? Get some jackhammers in their hands. Absolutely.
I think that's addressed in the tax code, and I think, you know, specifically in my wheelhouse being real estate, if you look at some of the tax codes that are out there today in real estate that Donald Trump knows very, very well, and I orchestrate or illustrate those in my book. The net operating loss, which has been disclosed, you know, he's got millions and millions of dollars. That's probably going to stay on the books. He took a lot of risks to get those losses. Another thing that I think we're going to see is the 1031 exchange, which has allowed Donald Trump to create significant wealth using this tax vehicle. Again, it's not a loophole. It's a tool that Donald Trump has used to create wealth, and it's for the average investor. The third one is my wheelhouse, closer to home, is the Real Estate Investment Trust, which was created by Eisenhower in 1960. Donald Trump is partners with Vornado. He lends money. He has a lender to Ladder Capital, which, again, this is a vehicle for the average investor to create wealth. So I think you're going to see all of those in place, especially with Donald Trump being so close to his real estate business.
Right. I think there's no doubt about that. Ed, people are saying, hey, I want jobs. Okay, jobs and Obamacare, I think those were two of the big things, particularly the sticker shock on Obamacare that people saw, and in a lot of these states it reflects that. How quickly or how easy will it be to repeal and replace Obamacare?
I think it's going to happen relatively quickly, Charles, but the two are tied together. My clients are telling me that the burden of Obamacare impacts their ability to grow their businesses and to bring on create new jobs and bring on new workers. That's a direct result of trying to provide additional jobs and economic growth to those who need it most. You got to get rid of that red tape. One of those basic things that Donald Trump can do right away is a simple attitude adjustment in the regulation or the regulatory bodies that work out of Washington. That's a real big change.
When you say attitude adjustment, just kind of let them know to take the foot off the pedal there a little bit.
Hey, look, in Florida, you know, when Rick Scott was elected governor, he actually went to the agencies and said, we're here to assist business, not stand in their way and be a burden. And Florida's economy grew because we lifted some of the unneeded, unnecessary burdens simply placed on businesses from bureaucrats out of Tallahassee or local governments that really unleashed business here in Florida.
Imagine that, the government being there to help you, not to hurt you. Guys, thank you both very much. Appreciate it. Coming up.